Back to life, back to surreality. Fox and Friends, watching them melt down the morning after was kind of beautiful. But now, the Trump going after, he dropped the Ron DeSanctimonious thing on the Friday before the election, Saturday, whenever the fuck, they bleed together, at one of the rallies, and then he dialed it back, apparently, until election day, and then he was like, it's on, because he's going to announce his exploratory committee next Tuesday and legally get around not being able to take super PAC money. And by the way, I hope he announces he's going to pull out by the spring because he can't afford it, and his numbers are going to take a giant shit, and he's going to be like trying to do rallies, and he's going to like charge tickets so he doesn't have to. He can just make it a job. It's going to be beautiful. But in the meantime, Fox and Friends are concerned because he called him Ron DeSanctimonious.
Kevin, races matter. All these races matter so much, and there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way to go, and I'm very hopeful that eventually, perhaps as soon as Monday, we will have more clarity. Maybe today, although I frankly doubt it. Like the rest of us, the White House and everybody still trying to figure out what's going on in these races that we've been talking about, in particular a couple of Senate races that we're keeping.
We know what's going on. We had an election, and in some of these cases, you have until Saturday for your ballot to arrive if you mailed it in on election day. So a lot of people either put it in the mailbox on election day and it went out that night, or they dropped it off someplace and the processing will take a couple of days. So those might be, worked in. And if enough of them were mailed in, the Monday before or on the Tuesday itself, and got stamped that day or got picked up with the mail on Wednesday morning, as long as they arrived by Saturday, because they were in the mailbox the night before, they'll be counted. And there might be enough of them to change some of the really close races. That's what's going on. No one's fucking puzzled, and Republicans have fought against making voting easier for everybody.
A very close eye on, and the dozens of House races, just so we can get a gauge of who will actually be running the new Congress. At this hour, the House still looks favorable for the GOP, while the Senate, as you pointed out, is still a toss-up. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the numbers. 211 for Republicans, 192 for Democrats. Everybody believes at this point it's going to be a GOP run.
That is not true.
In the House, eventually. We got all those races still out there. I just can't imagine what in the world is going on that we have so many House races that have yet to be called. How about the Senate? As you see, Republicans 49-48. If Laxalt gets over the threshold, it'll be 50-48, and then we'll wait for the last two to figure out where that all goes. Okay, how about the great state of Nevada? Speaking of the Senate, Laxalt right now still leading, but look at the difference. It was at 22,000 I'd say about a couple days ago. Now it's down to right around 9,000 because more
it's at 4 now.
Tranches of votes keep coming in, and generally they've been favorable for Cortez Masto, but still Laxalt's still leading, and they still feel very confident.
If there's 4 batches left and she's up by 500 votes on each one,
do GOP folks in the Silver State that he will, in fact, win that race. How about the governor's race there? Lombardo still looking good. Difference is smaller, 28,000 plus. It does look good for the GOP there as well.
No, the difference is bigger.
How about the Grand Canyon state of Arizona? Well, all you...
That's a good sigh. That's a Fox sigh.
Can say is right now, if you're a fan of Mr. Kelly, you're feeling good in the catbird seat, 115,000 vote difference. But Blake Masters still says there's a lot of votes out there. They're not giving up hope just yet.
They should. 82% in. He's up by 115,000 votes.
Staying in the Grand Canyon state, how about the gubernatorial race there? Yes. Carrie Lake is close, still trailing, though. In fact, she's trailing now by more than she was at this point yesterday.
26,979.
By nearly 27,000 votes. And despite the snail's pace, Carrie says, don't worry,
Oh, yeah? Have you talked to Katie Hobbs?
Convinced I'm going to win when all the votes are counted.
Yeah, that's what she's always said.
I will emerge victorious.
I am 100% going to win. I have
Yeah, nobody can ever say
absolute 100% confidence that I will be the next governor of Arizona.
that. That's a sales pitch. I 100% think this is the car for you. I do. I mean, if it had wheels, I mean, that's one of the things, people, obviously a car has 5 wheels, 6 if you have a spare. Obviously, if you're the steering wheel, it's got one of those. It's got a spare. It's tiny, but it's there. And really, in this day and age, you're safe for staying home. The world is full of crime. So a car without tires on it, that's 100% the car for you, buddy.
And I think the Republican Party should continue along with America First policies like we are.
What would those policies be? What do you say? Strong border.
Meantime, in Georgia, it's runoff time in a few weeks as Mr. Walker and Mr. Warnock go head-to-head again, round 2.
By the way, when Cortez Masto wins and when Mark Kelly wins, there is no fucking way Republicans turn out for Herschel Walker in December, because it's not going to make a fucking lick of difference. If it's the deciding factor, maybe. But it's not going to be. We pick up both of these other races, and we're going to. This race is fucking gravy for the Democrats and just does nothing for Republicans. All it does is get them right back. And why would you fucking show up, if you're not voting for Kemp, which a bunch of voters aren't, and he floated some of those. If you're not, voting for a MAGA win, how the hell are you? Why? Why would you show up? I mean, I will say this. I hope people do. I hope you vote. I hope you voted last time, you vote again. I hope that the vote is exactly what it was last time. And that you guys divide the 2% from the other guy right in half. Who cares? But everybody who voted again. And they make their real choice. That said, do I think everybody who voted for Warnock is going to show up? Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. 1 minute ago, Nevada, great update. Democratic Senator Cortez Masto says is only down by 798 votes. Yeah, she's going to win. And once she wins, Kelly's a for sure. And if Kelly and Masto are in there, why the fuck would people come out to go vote for Herschel Walker? We totally have this. I'm telling you. And then we're going to sit back. They're going to call the Senate races before they call the governor's race, because it'll be tighter, and there might be she's going to call for some sort of automatic recount. She's going to sue for a recount. It's going to be like a 30,000 vote difference, so no serious person would do it. But in certain counties, they'll file and blah, blah, blah. And it won't amount to a hill of beans. Can you explain that logic again? Yes, absolutely. So this is how it works. If we win Masto and Kelly, we are at 50. And currently, this race aside in December, it's 49-50. 49 Republicans, 50 Democrats. Even if they win, if Walker wins, he's still just the 50th Republican. And because we have the presidency, Kamala Harris still is the tie vote breaker. We're exactly where we are in the same setup that we've been in. 51. 50 plus the VP puts us over the top in a 50-50 Senate. So there is nothing to be gained other than getting to 50-50 from Walker winning. So why the shit? Republicans need 51 to control it. They will not get it. They're not going to get it. Cortez Masto and Kelly are both going to win. And because that's how the numbers are, and that's how the ballots are coming in. That's just reality. When we get back to 50-50, the Republicans all vote in lockstep anyways. One vote is not going to change a fucking thing. Democrats being 51-49 is going to be the exact same vote. The only thing that happens is that Kamala Harris isn't going to have to walk down there every so often because we will have 51 Democrats in the Senate. That's it. Yes, Walker will lose. Walker's losing right now. He's just losing by enough of a margin, a tight enough margin that it triggers an automatic recount because it keeps Warnock under 50. Yeah, savor the trip. Exactly. I can't bear to look at the numbers without holding my hand. I'm good. So, again, why the fuck, if you're a tepid voter anyways, why, and believe me, there are no Democratic tepid voters, especially around the issue of abortion. Believe me, everybody's pouring out for Warnock. The same people who voted for Warnock are going to come out. He might shave, 8,000 votes, but that's it. Half of the people, a third, I would say, honestly, a third of the people voting for Walker are not going to show up the second time around. Not to get to 50-50. They don't care. He's not a motivational figure. Talk about Congress and concern, we lose control there. We're at, I call it at 2019, or 219. I think we're going to end up with 219 Democrats. I also think that a couple of the Republicans that got through have legal issues, and they're going to, that their majority may not last to swearing in. That's another thing. That's a much bigger thing. But I get nervous about Cortez. Nope. She's good. The mail-in votes, here's the thing. They think, and Carrie Lake is floating on this as well. They think the same-day drop-off will be the same thing as it was in 2020, which was almost all Republican. It's never been like that before because normally same-day people who drop off are Democrats by, they favor it 60-40 almost everywhere because you got a mail-in one, you had time, but you want to make sure it dropped off. And over the last bit, because of Louis DeJoy and the fuck-arounds with the mail, especially around 2020, you don't trust the mail. So you're not going to mail it, especially after Friday. If you haven't mailed it yet, you got to drop it off in a lot of places, or you just don't trust it, right? What if I drop it in there and then they don't pick up the mail because he cut, the trucks in my area or whatever the fuck, and you get really nervous about it. So people go to the drop-off boxes and do it the day. Yes, exactly. It was the opposite in 2018, much closer to what normal is like. And there were a lot more Democrats who requested an early ballot, were going to vote early, but then went, you know what, I can just drop it off on the day because I want to show up and do it on the day. That kind of thing. And that's exactly how it's turning out. Every batch they're getting looks like an exaggeration of 2018. Same thing. So, what the fuck? By the way, I've forgotten what these assholes are talking about.
To determine that state Senate seat. In the meantime, the Democrat isn't frankly talking about, kitchen table issues like the high cost of food or gas. Instead,
yeah, he was.
Raphael Warnock is taking the low road, slamming Mr. Walker personally.
What you mean? Challenging his values?
We've seen that Herschel Walker has a disturbing history, a pattern of violence against women, against his own family. Is that who we want?
He's not telling you the truth, and he's going to continue to be that hypocrite, that wolf in sheep's clothing. Got to get out and vote.
A wolf in sheep's clothing.
Vote and tell your friends to get out and vote. This is the most important election.
Yeah, no, it won't. And by the way, throwing it this way.
Important election. Meantime, on Truth Social, former President Trump is also getting a little, well, let's just say a little frisky as people.
Ew.
People start talking about 2024 already, and he's taking a shot at Ron DeSantis, the governor of the great state of Florida. This is what the president wrote. He calls him Ron DeSanctimonious. He says he's playing games. The fake news asking him if he's going to run if President Trump runs. He says, I'm only focused on the governor's race. I'm not looking into the future. Well, in terms of loyalty and class, that's really not the right answer. If you know the president, you know how he feels about loyalty. And
yes, it's a one-way street. That's how he feels about loyalty. You are loyal to him, and if he thinks you're worth jettisoning, he'll throw you under the fucking bus in a heartbeat. Which, by the way, you can't actually call loyalty, because loyalty itself is a two-way street. This is just transactional, hierarchical bullshit.
And he feels like he has helped Ron DeSantis in the past, and that
he says he broke the law to help him get elected.
the right thing to say, at least, is I'll stand down until and unless I hear what the president wants to do. He didn't say that. Some would argue that's politically the smart thing to do. So a little back and forth right there, guys. A little infighting by the GOP.
Just a little.